Hey friends, what's up? And welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Lamed, Daf 34, Masechta Rosh Hashanah. Friends, what does Daf Lamed talk about? So we see two different ways to understand how we know that on Rosh Hashanah we blow Tekiah, Trua, followed by a Tekiah. We see two ways to learn that out. Very, very interestingly, we're going to see sort of, the source for, how we blow shofar in terms of we do, right, Tekiah, Shvarim, Trua, Tekiah. What's the Shvarim, Trua? What's that whole thing? We're going to get to that as well. And other assorted halachas with regards to Tekiah, Shofar, and Musaf on Rosh Hashanah. So friends, let's jump in. We are on Daf Lamed Gimel with Beis, about 7-8 lines from the bottom. Tana Rabbana the Rabbis taught minayin shebeshofar. So how do we know that the shofar is with the ram's horn? Well, Tamlum v'avarta shofar trua. Okay. Well, the pasuk says in the context of Yovel that you'll blow a shofar. And yela b'Yovel b'Rosh Hashanah minayin. Okay, Gevaldi, great for Yovel, but how does that apply to Rosh Hashanah? So Tamalom b'chodesh hashvi, she'ein Tamalom b'chodesh hashvi, uma Tamalom b'chodesh hashvi. Oh, so the Gemara says, well, in the context of Yovel, it says shofar, and it also says in the 7th month. Now, friends, in the context of Yovel, we're talking about Yom Kippur. We already know that Yom Kippur is in the 7th month. The Torah said that 1,000,000 times already. We know that Yom Kippur is in the 7th month. So why does it say another time that Yom Kippur is in the 7th month? Or maybe the Torah doesn't say 1,000,000 times, whatever it is. But we already know, Lemaisa, that the Yom Kippur is in Tishrei. So why does it have to say the 7th month? It's because Sheyu Kol Truas Shechodesh Hashvi Zekazeh, in order to compare and, make equivalentate? Dennis? Anyways, so in order to compare to, what's the word? I don't know, make them all the same? Samenize? All the blowings of Tishrei together, right? So therefore, all the blowings in the month of Tishrei are going to be the same in that, well, just like by Yovel, it's a ram's horn. So therefore also we, exactly, that just like by Yovel, it's a ram's horn. So therefore by Rosh Hashanah as well, we're talking about a ram's horn. Well, again, how do we know that? So the blowing of the shofar is the trua, essentially. Now, how do we know that before the trua there's a tekiah, and after the trua there's a tekiah? So it's tekiah, trua, tekiah. So how do we know that there's also a tekiah before the trua? Shofar trua. That you'll have a ha'avarta, that it's like not a pshuta. That's you'll have one blast, one tekiah. I don't know what I just said, but you'll have one tekiah, and then you'll have your trua. How do you know that there's another tekiah afterwards? Taviru shofar. It then says afterwards taviru shofar. Right? If we look at the pasuk, it says v'avarta shofar trua. So that's tekiah followed by a trua. B'chodesh hashvi be'esel chodesh b'yom kippurim taviru shofar b'chol ha'atzechem. And then once again you'll have another tekiah afterwards. And then once again, all I know is that on Yovel you have to do tekiah, trua, tekiah. How do I know that also on Rosh Hashanah you do tekiah, trua, tekiah? Therefore it says in the pasuk in the 7th month that there's no reason to say in the 7th month because we already know it's the 7th month. Yom Kippur of Yovel is the 7th month. So so the reason why it says the 7th month in the context of Yovel is to say that, well, all the shofar blasts of Tishrei are the same in that, and just like by Yovel it is a ram's horn and it is a tekiah, trua, tekiah. So as well by Rosh Hashanah, it is a ram's horn and it is tekiah, trua, tekiah. Alright? Givaldig. And how do I know that we're talking about 3 times, right? Meaning by Malchius and Zichronus and Shofaris, we do tekiah, trua, tekiah. So a total of 9 blasts. Well, we have 3 psukim that mention truas. One of them says va'avarta shofar trua. that you'll have this shofar, and that's talking about Yovel. Shabbosun zichron trua, yom trua ye'elochem. So it says trua in 3 psukim. And how do I know that all these things are like apply together? That's why, therefore it says Shvi'i in the context of Yovel and Shvi'i in the context of Rosh Hashanah to make a Gzeira Shaveh. How is this Shalosh Shein Teisha? That is 3 rounds, 3 instances that for a total of 9 blasts. Okay, so we have 3 psukim where it says Trua. One of them is in the context of Yovel. The other 2 are in the context of Rosh Hashanah. We say that we have a Gzeira Shaveh. The Gemara is going to ask in a second, wait, I thought we were talking about a Hekesh up until now. Now we're talking about Gzeira Shavahs. We'll get there in a second. But anyways, we have a Gzeira Shaveh. It says Trua by Yovel. It says Trua by Rosh Hashanah. We have a total of 3 psukim. Therefore, it's talking about 3 different instances. And therefore, now, if we tie everything together, what have we seen so far? We've seen that by Yovel, we're talking about a shofar. And that by Yovel, it's Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah. Now, between Yovel and Rosh Hashanah, we have 3 psukim, which we learn out, therefore, that we need to have 3 instances. So therefore, you do Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah by Malchios, and again by Zichronos, and again by Shofaros. So a total of 9 blasts. And the same applies as well on Yovel, you would do 9 blasts. Okay, fine. Shir Trua Kishlosha Shvarim, and the length of a Trua is the same. I'm sorry, one second. I skipped. Fine. Shir Tkiya Kitrua. The length of a Tkiya is equal to the length of a Trua. Shir Trua Kishlosha Shvarim, and the length of a Trua is equal to 3 Shvarims. Fine. Great. So, we've learned from there everything we need to learn. That we're talking about a ram's horn, it's Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah, and it's by Malchios, Zichronos, and Shofaros, and the same would apply as well to Yovel. Fine. Now, the Gemara asks, one second. At the beginning of the Brisa, on 2 occasions, we had said, how do we know that the halachos of Yovel apply to Rosh Hashanah? So we said, well, it says by Chodesh Hashvi, in the 7th month, in Tishrei, and it didn't need to. It's extra. What are we learning out from this extra word? We're learning out that we should be comparing all the blowings of the shofar of Tishrei to each other, and therefore they're all with the ram's horn, they're all Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah. But then the Gemara says that how do we know that it's 3 sets? That's probably the word I was thinking of, sets. How do we know that it's 3 sets, both by Yovel and by Rosh Hashanah? So we say, well, we have a Gzeira Shavah. It says, that it says Shvi'i by Yovel, and it says Shvi'i by Rosh Hashanah. And therefore it's a Gzeira Shavah, it's the same word in both places, and therefore the halachos apply in both. So the Gemara wants to know, how come at the beginning of the Brisa, we were saying this sort of a hekesh, which is a comparison, that we're saying, well, the reason why it says an extra b'chodesh Hashvi by Yom Kippur of Yovel is to compare all the blowings of the shofar to each other. But then we say it's taka Gzeira Shavah, and a Gzeira Shavah is stronger than a hekesh. Right? A Gzeira Shavah is a Mesorah, halach l'Moshe Misinai. Right? It's like it has the status of a D'oraisa. So therefore, right, meaning Gzeira Shavahs, we have a tradition that they go back all the way to Har Sinai, to Moshe Rabbeinu. So what's the deal? How come first we're talking about hekeshes, then we're talking about Gzeira Shavahs? What is it? So Achikama, the Gemara says this is what's going on. Ilav Gzeira Shavah, if not for the fact that we have this Gzeira Shavah of Shvi, Haba Maisina, I nonetheless would have brought it anyways. La Be'akesha, we would have just brought it on its own anyways with the Hekesh, Hashtada Asya, Gzeira Shavah, Hekesh Lo Tzarech. But now that we do have a Gzeira Shavah, so we actually don't need that Hekesh. So we're saying that, look, we have a Gzeira Shavah, that's really basically as strong as it gets. But even in the absence of this Gzeira Shavah, we would still be able to learn this out, even from a Hekesh, from the extra word of B'chodesh Hashvi. Alright. That sounds very nice. Now we have another Tana who learns out all these halachis from a Gzeira Shavah from the desert. Okay? From when the Yidden would travel in the desert. that when the Yidden would travel in the desert, all the camps, so they would blow the chatzotzes, right? So it says, the Tanya is within the Brayso, uskaitem trua tkiya b'fnei atzma utrua b'fnei atzma. So it says that when the Yidden would travel in the desert, so they would have all of their encampments, and they would, first travel the ones to the east and then the south, and so it says that they would blow a trua. So it says tkiya b'fnei atzma utrua b'fnei atzma. Then when it says uskaitem trua, so tkiya is its own thing and trua is its own thing, right? So that doesn't mean that uskaitem trua you'll blow a trua. No, it means that you'll blow a tkiya and you'll blow a trua. They're two separate things. Wait, is that really true? That you say that tkiya is its own thing and trua is its own thing? Or maybe what it means is that trua and tkiya are the same. So meaning when it says uskaitem trua, it means you'll blow a trua, but all you're blowing is the trua. But then the Gemara says, well, but the pasuk also says over there, 2 psukim later, that and when you're simply gathering the congregation, so you're not traveling, but you're just gathering the congregation. So it says, Tisku uvelo tariu. In that case, you're only going to do a tkiya, you're not going to do a trua. Haha. So you see, therefore, that clearly a tkiya is its own thing and a trua is its own thing. So when it says uskaitem trua, it means you do a tkiya and a trua. And when it says, when you gather the congregation, tisku v'lo tariu, you'll only do a tkiya, so that means that you're just going to do a tkiya, not a trua. So tkiya is its own thing, and trua is its own thing. Sometimes you do tkiya and trua, other times you only do tkiya alone. And how do I know that there is a tkiya before the trua? It says you do a tkiya followed by a trua. How do you know that you also do a tkiya after the trua? So tamalomer trua yiskiu. So it also says trua yiskiu. So we see trua and then followed by a tkiya. Okay, so we see from the way that the Yidden would travel in the desert, there'd be a tkiya followed by a trua followed by another tkiya. Rabbi Shmuel ben Rosh Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka Omer says Rabbi Shmuel ben Rosh Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. Okay, mostly got it. Eno tzarich. Okay, you don't need to learn out the tkiya, trua, tkiya like that. Rather, arehu Omer uskaitem trua shenis. That the pasuk says that when it's time for the second camp to travel, so it says uskaitem trua shenis, you're going to blow a trua a second time. Shein tam lomer shenis. What's the deal with the word shenis? A second time. We know that it's a second time. The previous pasuk I talked about blowing the trua the first time, and now we're talking about blowing the trua the second time. I can count. Why do I need it to say explicitly shenis a second time? Matam lomer shenis zebana of. Well, because it's setting a precedent. Shechomakum shenemar trua, that any place where it says trua, tehei tkiya shniya la. So that means that you should always have a second tkiya. So it's always going to be, whenever you have a trua, it's always tkiya, trua, tkiya. Fine. And that's what it means, uskaitim trua shenis. You can blow a second one. Okay, a second trua. Tkiya. So tkiya, trua, tkiya. Ainli ela b'midbar b'Rosh Hashanah. Now, for the Gemara, all I know is that by the traveling of the camps in the desert, so they would blow a tkiya, trua, tkiya. How do I know that also on Rosh Hashanah it's trua, tkiya, trua, tkiya? So Tamalomar, trua l'gzeir shaveh. Oh, so here we go. We talk have gzeir shaveh of, it says trua by Rosh Hashanah, and it says trua by the traveling of the camps in the desert. Just like in the desert, it was tkiya, trua, tkiya. Also by gzeir shaveh. Well, what? Also by Rosh Hashanah, it's going to be tkiya, trua, tkiya. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So this Tana learns out from the traveling of the Yidden in the desert. That's how you can learn out that by Rosh Hashanah, it's going to be a tkiya followed by a trua followed by a tkiya. Now, moving on in the Brisa. V'shalosh truos nemru b'Rosh Hashanah. Now, by Rosh Hashanah, it says trua 3 times. Okay. Shabboson zichron trua. Okay. Yom trua. Okay. Vavarta shofar trua. Okay. Fine. So we see that by Rosh Hashanah, it says the Brisa that by Rosh Hashanah there's 3 psukim that say trua. So we see that you have to blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah 3 times. Malchus, zichronos, and shofaros. Okay. Mishtei tekiyos l'chol achas v'achas, and by each trua there's going to be 2 tekiyas, as we learned from the traveling in the desert. Matzinu lemedin shalosh truos v'sheish tekiyos nemer b'Rosh Hashanah. Okay, I feel like my words are all over the place today. So again, there are, where am I? Wow. So each trua has with it 2 tkiyas, one before, one after. Matzinu lemedin, so we learned shalosh truos, that there are 3 truas, v'sheish tkiyos, and 6 tekiyas, right? So you do tekiya, trua, tekiya, which is 3 times 3 is 9. Of those, 3 of them are truas and 6 of them are tekiyas. Nemer b'Rosh Hashanah, they are by Rosh Hashanah. Shtaim midivrei Torah v'achas midivrei Sofrim. And says the Brisa. So what's going to end up being the Tanakama in the Brisa. So we're saying that 2 of them are midoraisa, 1 of them is midorabanan. Meaning that when it says, we have 3 psukim that we brought that said trua in them, right? So we want to say that, yes, 2 of those psukim are midoraisa, that we blow 3 times 2, and 1 of them is only midorabanan. Let's go weiter for a second. Shabbosun zichron trua, v'avarta shofar trua, midivei Torah, yom trua, ye'elochem l'talmudo huba is coming l'talmudo. Friends, what does this mean? Okay, it means this. So we had said that by the midbar, right, because this is still that same brisa that's learning out the tekiyas from the midbar. So in the midbar, we had said that you blow a tekiya, followed by a trua, followed by a tekiya. Great. Now, that's only in the midbar. How do I know that by Rosh Hashanah, right, says the Brisa, how do I know that by Rosh Hashanah also we blow tekiya, trua, tekiya? So we have a gzeira shavet, that it says trua by the desert, and it says trua by Rosh Hashanah, and therefore, just like in the desert, it was tekiya, trua, tekiya, so therefore also by Rosh Hashanah, it's tekiya, trua, tekiya. Fine. Amazing. Now, by Rosh Hashanah, it says trua 3 times, in 3 psukim. Great. Now, here's the thing. So ideally, the easiest thing would be to just say, well, we have 3 psukim by Rosh Hashanah that say trua. So therefore, when we have the tekiya, trua, and tekiya, it's going to be 3 times by Rosh Hashanah, 1 for Malchus, 1 for Zichronos, 1 for Shofaros. That would be the easiest way to do it. However, it doesn't necessarily work so easily because, says the Tanakama, 1 of those truas is off limits. Why is it off limits? Well, because that's the one that's needed to make the link, to make the gzeira shavet. Meaning, it says trua 3 times, but 1 of those truas is to make the gzeira shavet with the trua of the desert. So therefore, that's the only thing, that's its role, is to be the gzeira shavet. But it's not able to then be used as one of the 3 times that you blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah. It's off limits. It's reserved exclusively for the gzeira shavet, which means that then you have 2 psukim left over that say the word trua. So midoraisa, all we know from the gzeira shavet is that we blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah twice. However, midivrei sofrim, from midrabanan, to make Malchus, Zichronos, and Shofaros all equal, so we say that by each one of them, by Malchus and by Zichronos and by Shofaros, you blow shofar nonetheless. But really, midoraisa, from the gzeira shavet, we would only learn that we blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah twice, but we add the 3rd one as well, midivrei sofrim, midirabanan. Fine. You guys got that? Good. Let's go weiter. Now, Rishmo Bar Nachmani Amar Rabbi Yonasan says, Rishmo Bar Nachmani, the name of Rabbi Yonasan, achas midivrei Torah, that actually only 1 of them is midivrei Torah, right? We have 3 psukim by Rosh Hashanah that say trua, but only 1 of them we could learn out that midoraisa, so you have to blow a tekiya, trua, tekiya on Rosh Hashanah. The other 2 psukim are off limits. V'shtay midivrei sofrim, 2 of them are midorabanan. V'avarta shofar trua midivrei Torah. When it says v'avarta shofar trua, that's midoraisa on Rosh Hashanah. You're going to blow tekiya, trua, tekiya. But Shabbos and Zichron trua, v'yom trua ye'elochem l'talmudo huba, those are needed to teach other things. Ma'ila talmudo huba, what does it mean that it's needed to teach other things? So I understand 1 of the psukim is needed to make the gzeira shavet, just like the Tanakama said. But why? What's the deal with the 2nd one that we're saying is off limits? What's it off limits for? So mibai libayom v'lo balayla. That when it says Yom Trua Ye'elochem, it means that you blow shofar during the day, you don't blow shofar at night. V'idach, according to the Tanakama, Bayom v'lo balayla minole. How does the Tanakama know that you blow shofar during the day and not during the night? So nafkele mi bayom HaKippurim. Well, the Tanakama learns that out from Bayom HaKippurim. It says by Yovel that on the Yom HaKippurim, that on the day of Yom Kippur, you blow shofar not during the night. And we learn that from just like by Yom Kippur, so also by Rosh Hashanah, you're only going to blow shofar during the day and not by night. But then the Gemara says, wait a second, friends. If you remember, the Gemara today started off with how do we know that you blow shofar, tkiya, trua, tkiya on Rosh Hashanah? So we said, well, we learn it from Yovel, from Yom Kippur of Yovel. Now, this Brisa says, no, we don't learn it out from Yovel, we learn it out from the traveling in the desert, from the Chatzotzos. So now, if the Tanakama is saying that he learns out that you only blow shofar during the day and not by night from Yom Kippur of Yovel, well then, why is he learning out Tkiya, Trua, Tkiya from the traveling in the desert? Why doesn't he just learn out the whole thing from Yovel, like we did at the beginning of the daf today? So, and for the Gemara, well, because the Tanakama doesn't agree with the premise of the first way of the first brisa. The premise of the first brisa is that, well, how do you know that you blow shofar, that you do tkiya before the trua and a tkiya after the trua? We said, well, because it says ta'aviru, right? It says v'avarta shofar trua, and it says ta'aviru shofar, and ha'avara means to blow a tkiya. Now the Tanakam in our Brisa doesn't agree with that. He doesn't, right, says, right, V'avarta taviru lo mashmalu, he doesn't learn from V'avarta and taviru that it means to blow a tkiya before the trua and a tkiya after the trua. So therefore, he prefers to learn it out from the chatzotzos in the desert when they would travel. Elamai dar shibu. So then, what do they do, right, V'avarta? What do they do then with V'avarta? What did they learn out from V'avarta? Right, the first Brisa learned out that it's talking about a tkiya. If the Tanakama in this Brisa is saying that you can't learn that out from V'avarta, then what do you learn out from V'avarta? So Kedur Rav Masna, they learn like Rav Masna. The Amar Rav Masna says, Rav Masna V'avarta, derech ha'avaroso, that you blow the shofar the way that that the ram carries it around. I.e., we had learned the other day that you're not allowed to take the wide part and make it thin, and the thinner part and make it wider, and then blow the shofar inverted in that sense. No, you have to blow shofar in the normal direction. That's what they learn out from ha'avarta. Now, the word ta'aviru, right, so it says, right, it said in the pasuk, ve'avarta en ta'aviru, dika'am rachmana, nabre biyad. Okay? So I may have thought that what when it says ta'aviru, it means that you carry the shofar and you don't necessarily blow the shofar. I may have thought that. That's why I need these psukim by the midbar to teach me that you actually blow the shofar. Alright. Sounds good to me, I guess. Now, v'idach, the Rav Masna, now, Rav Shmuel ben Achmani, Rav Yonasan, so how does he know that you have to blow the shofar in sort of the normal way that you blow the shofar? So he says, midashani b'dibure. Okay, fine. No, I'm sorry, the first brisa, right, which said that ve'avarta means that you're going to blow a tkiya before the truos, then how does he know that you have to blow it in sort of the normal direction? So midashani b'dibure, well, from the fact that, it says ve'avarta, which is kind of like a strange way of saying it, so that's how he learns out that not only do you have to blow a tkiya, but also that you have to blow it in the right direction, okay? Taviru, biyad lo matzis omart, and additionally, to say that ta'aviru means that you have to carry it with your hand, like you might think that the mitzvah of shofar is to carry it in your hand and not to blow it. So it says, lo matzis omart. You can't say it. The Gemara avar mimoshe, because it says ta'aviru over here, and it says vayaviru kol b'machne by Moshe Rabbeinu. That when they had everything ready for the Mishkan, so Moshe Rabbeinu says, they commanded and they passed a sound in the camp, Malahalim bikol, Afkan bikol. So just like over there by Moshe Rabbeinu, it was a sound, So here also by the shofar, we're talking about a sound. We're not talking about just carrying the shofar. Okay, fine. So you have to blow the shofar. Alright, so according to the first Tana who learns out from Ve'avarta and Tavir that it means a tkiya. Yes, it means a tkiya, but it also means that you do it in the right direction, right? That you blow it in the normal direction, and also that we're talking about a sound, and we're not talking about just carrying it in your hand. Alright. Now, according to the Tana, according to the Tana in the second brisa, that we're learning out the tkiya, true tkiya, from the traveling of the Yidden in the Midbar, well, why don't we say that just like over there we're talking about trumpets, so maybe on Rosh Hashanah also you blow a trumpet. So, well, we say, yeah, but the pasuk says that blow a shofar when the moon is covered. What is the festival in which the moon is covered? That is Rosh Hashanah v'kam Rachmana shofar, and we're saying that, right, tikku b'chod shofar, that it's taka a shofar. So we see that, even according to the brisa that learns out Rosh Hashanah from the traveling in the Midbar, even though it was trumpets over there, specifically by Rosh Hashanah, it says tikku b'chod shofar b'keser yom chagenu, that is going to be a shofar on Rosh Hashanah, so it's a shofar, it's not chatzotzus. Okay. Wow, okay, got a little bit spaghetti over there between all the different opinions of Shmuel bar Nachmani and the Tanakama, and then the first brisa got involved over there in Tavir. It got a little spaghetti, but alright, I guess things get messy sometimes. Let's go on. So asking Rabbi Bo Bekesari. So Rabbi Bo, he made a takon in Caesarea. Here we go. Tkiya shlosha shvarim trua tkiya. Friends, this might be familiar to you, right? In Shulam Rosh Hashanah we do tkiya shvarim trua tkiya. What's the deal with the shvarim trua? Here we go. So Rabbi Bo in Kesari, in Caesarea, he would do a tkiya followed by shlosha shvarim, followed by a trua, followed by a tkiya. In fact, the Gemara Manavshach, I don't understand. Yalule yalil lavatria tkiya trua tkiya. I understand. If we need it to be those like very quick, broken up blows, well then just do a tkiya trua tkiya. Viganuche ganach, and if it's more like wailing, right? So if it's yalule yalil like quick sobs, or if it's ganuche ganach like wailing, longer wails, then liav tkiya shlosha shvarim v'tkiya, then do tkiya shvarim tkiya. What's the deal with the tkiya shvarim trua tkiya? So misapkele iganuche ganach yalule yalil. So the Gemara says, well, he wasn't sure. Is a trua a quick sobs, or is it longer sort of wailing or whatever? So therefore he said just do tkiya shvarim trua tkiya. Maskefler Ravir asked the kasha viduma yalule hava. But 1 second, what if it's supposed to be those very quick cries? V'kamafsik shlosha shvarim ben tkiya trua. Now let's say it's supposed to be sort of like, very quick sobs, but you're doing tkiya shvarim trua tkiya, then you're breaking up the first tkiya and the trua with a shvarim in the middle. The other of tkiya trua tkiya. Well, he's still going to be doing afterwards a tkiya trua tkiya to make sure that he's covering those bases as well. Mask for Ravina, but then Ravina asks a kasha based on the shvarim. Viduma ganuchi hava. But maybe you're supposed to be sort of those longer cries, in which case, when you do the trua and then the shvarim, but then you do a trua in between, right before the next tkiya, you're breaking up between the shvarim and the following tkiya. So the hadar avid tkiya shvarim tkiya. Well, he's always going to go back and do a tkiya shvarim tkiya to cover his bases there. Rababo, my asking. But then, Rababo, what's the point of doing the tkiya shvarim trua tkiya? Niganuche ganach ha'avde yalule yalul ha'avde. Well, if you're not sure if it's the quick cries or the longer sobs, so then by doing the tkiya trua tkiya and the tkiya shvarim tkiya, you covered all your bases. What's the deal with the tkiya shvarim trua tkiya? So misapkale, he wasn't sure. Dilma ganach v'yalil. well, maybe also you need to do longer sobs followed by quick cries. So therefore, maybe you have to do a tkiya shvarim trua tkiya. Then maybe you should also do the opposite possibility, which is tkiya trua shlosha shvarim tkiya. So maybe do a tkiya trua shvarim tkiya also. Dumayal v'ganach. Maybe it's quick cries followed by longer sobs. Stama de milsa kimasa beinish milsa bereisha ganach mother yalu. So Rabbi says no, or the Gemara says that no, when a person sort of is doing a combo of longer sobs and quick cries, so that's the order it's going to be. It's going to be longer sobs followed by quick cries. It's not going to be quick cries followed by longer sobs. So therefore, we do all of the combinations. We do tkiya shvarim trua tkiya, we do tkiya shvarim tkiya, and tkiya trua tkiya. Alright, sounds like a lot of fun. Well, it is a lot of fun, right? We do it on Rosh Hashanah. It's a lot of fun. Talk about Rishonu Mashach Bashniya Kishtayim. The Mishnah had said that if a fellow, after Malchias, he blows a tkiya, well, before Malchias, he blows, well, depending on how he does it, the first tkiya of the Malchias tkiyas, he does a tkiya, and then and then he does a trua, and then the last of the tkiyas, he does twice as long. So the question is, can that work as the second tkiya of Malchias as well as the first tkiya of Zichronis? So we say that no, it does not work, because we don't just divide up, we don't artificially divide up tkiyas. Now, Amr B'Yochanan, says Rabbi Yochanan, Shama Tesha tkiyas, B'Tesha Shalos Bayom Yatza. If a fellow hears 9 shofar blasts throughout the day, so not all at one time, but 1 hour he hears this, the next hour he hears another one, that's fine. Tanam Yachim, we talk a little in a brisa like this. Shamatesha tkiyos b'tesha shows bayom yatzu. If a fellow hears 9 shofar blasts in 9 separate hours throughout the day, it's no problem, you're yotze. Mitez b'nei adam ke'echad lo yatzu. But if he hears 9 shofar blasts all at the same time from 9 different people, he's not yotze. Rashi points out that maybe that doesn't really make sense, because we had learned the other day that if you have blasts coming from different people, then you actually can hear them. So this doesn't necessarily make so much sense. We can see another thing which is also a little bit hard to understand. But anyways, okay, that's what the Brisa says. It doesn't necessarily make so much sense. Rashi therefore changed it to say that Taka, he is Yotze. Okay. Tkiya mizeh u'trua mizeh yotzav afilu b'seirugin. If you're a trua from one fellow, and you hear tkiya from one fellow, a trua from another fellow, even if there's gaps between them, it's fine. Afilu kol yom kulo, even if they're spread out throughout the day. Okay, fine. Would Rabbi Yochanan really say that if you hear, 9 blasts throughout the day, 9 different hours, then you're Yotzei? Rabbi Yochanan, Mishum Rabbi Shimon ben Yotzadok. Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Yotzadok, B'Halav Megillah, when it comes to reading Hallel, when it comes to reading the Megillah, Im Shak de Ligmar Eskula Chozer Rosh. If you interrupt Hallel or Megillah and you wait for long enough that you'd be able to read the entire Megillah in that period, well, then you have to go back to the beginning. Right? The entire Megillah or the entire Hallel, if you wait long enough that it would take for you to recite the entire thing, you have to go back to the beginning. Lo kasha, hadidei adu Rabbi, say, that's no problem. Rabbi Yochanan himself says that you could, do things throughout the day, no problem. When he's quoting his Rebbe, Rabbi Shimon ben Yotzadok, which is very interesting, you don't really, you don't see that very often. Rabbi Yochanan is quoting Rabbi Shimon ben Yotzadok, and that Rabbi Shimon ben Yotzadok is his Rebbe, but we learned something new. So when he's quoting his Rebbe, Rabbi Shimon ben Yotzadok, so then Rabbi Shimon ben Yotzadok says that you wouldn't be able to, if you wait long enough to do the entire thing, you'd have to go back to the beginning. But Rabbi Yochanan doesn't agree with that. V'didei lo. Fact the Gemara, v'didei lo. But one second, is it really just the opinion of his Rebbe that if you wait long enough to do the whole thing, you have to go back to the beginning? But one second, there's a story where Rabbi Bo was walking with his Rebbe, Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Bo was reading Kriyat Shema. And when he got to some place that was dirty, and Rabbi Bo said he shouldn't be, figured he shouldn't be reading Kriyat Shema in this dirty place, Ishtik, so he kept quiet. He stopped reading Kriyat Shema when they were walking through this place. And after they passed through the place and they were out on the other side, Rabbi Bo says to Rabbi Yochanan, Ma'u ligmor. What do I do? Do I just finish reading Kriyat Shema, or do I go back to the beginning? Rabbi Rabbi Yochanan said to Rabbi, look, if you've waited long enough while traveling through this place that you shouldn't be reading Kriyas Shema, so that if you've waited long enough that you'd be able to say the entire Kriyas Shema, so then go back to the beginning. So we see that Rabbi Yochanan seems to be on board with this principle of that if you wait enough time to do the whole thing, you have to go back to the beginning. So how could it be that Rabbi Yochanan is saying that if you hear one blast each hour throughout the day, it works, but you're going to wait too long in between? So this is what Rabbi Yochanan was saying to Rabbi Bo. The Didi lo svirli. Look, I don't agree. I don't agree with you. Right? Rashi points out that according to Rabbi Yochanan, you would just be able to cover your mouth and continue reading Kriyas Shema over there, even while walking through that place that's dirty. And he says, look, I don't agree with what you did. You know, you didn't have to stop reading Kriyas Shema. You could have just covered your mouth. But anyways, look, you stopped and go. Here's the paper boy. There he is, and come on, go. What are you doing? Ride off into the night. What's he doing? Oh, there he is. Oh, no. False stop. Oh, there he is. Oh, wait. Also stop. There he is. Now he's off. Riding off into the night. I wonder what he was doing. What do you think he was doing? Maybe he was changing the music on Spotify or something. Anyways, so Rabbi Yochanan says, look, I don't agree with you. You know, I don't agree with any of this stuff. I would have kept on reading Kriyas Shema. I also don't think it's a problem. You know, if you wait long enough to say the whole thing, like, that's fine. You can keep on going. Like, I don't agree with any of this stuff. But the Dida, according to you, the Svirlach, that you do hold to this stuff, well, that line of thinking would dictate that if you waited enough time to say the whole thing, you would have to go back to the beginning. Anyways, so we're saying that according to Rabbi Yochanan, you could hear one Tkiya each hour throughout the day, and that would be fine. Okay, so also Rashi here has a way of explaining it that apparently doesn't necessarily make so much sense, so we'll just explain it the other way, which is, apparently Rashi maybe had a different girsa in the Gemara, so we'll just explain it based on the girsa that we have, which is, so this is actually talking about a fast day, okay? That on a fast day, as we're going to learn in Masechta Tainis, so on public fast days, which you don't really do so much nowadays, those are like real things. You would wear like sackcloth and go out to the streets. But anyways, they would blow shofar over there, and there would be extra brachas that they would add to the Shmoneh Esrei. So we're saying that on fast days, these tkiyos are not ma'akev each other. So we'll explain that by meaning, we'll explain this to mean that, if you only did some of them, then that's okay. And also these extra brachos, if you only, let's say, knew some of them, that's also okay. But the shofar blowing and the brachas of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are ma'akev. You have to say all of them. Okay? My time, how come? Rabba says, Rabba Amar Kodesh Baruch Hu says, the Eibishter imu lefanei Rosh Hashanah Malchios Zichronos v'Shofaros. Say before me on Rosh Hashanah Malchios Zichronos and Shofaros. Malchios Kadesh Tamlichuni Aleichem. Malchios, so that you make me king over you. Zichronos Kadesh Yavo Lefnechem Lefanei Zichronechem. Zichronos, so that your remembrance comes before me. The Tova, for good. Uvame b'Shofar, and with the shofar. All right. Mishberach v'achakach nismana lo shofar tukei meriv tukei. Said the Mishnah that if somebody already davened Musaf, and then the shofar becomes available to him. He didn't have a shofar when they were praying Musaf, but after Musaf, the shofar becomes available. So blow shofar then. Just blow all 9 blasts then. Taima tlahavale shofar meikar. So the reason why we're saying that he blows the 9 shofar blasts afterwards is because he didn't have a shofar when he was when he was davening. Hahavale shofar meikar kishamalu asay de brachos shamalu. But if you do have a shofar when you're davening Musaf, so then you should blow the shofar together, basically as you're davening, right? With the Malchus, with the Zichronos, and with the Shofaros. Rav Papa Bar Shmuel kom l'tzaluye. So Rav Papa Bar Shmuel got up to daven. Omer l'shamai, and before he started the Shmoneh Esrei, he said to his attendant, Ki nehir nalach tkali. When I signal to you, blow shofar. I.e., Rav Papa Bar Shmuel was going to daven the Musaf Shmoneh Esrei of Rosh Hashanah. And when he finishes davening Malchias, he was going to signal to his attendant, and his attendant would blow shofar. When he finishes Zichronos, same thing. Shofaros, same thing. And as he was davening, his attendant would blow shofar for him. Which is kind of, so there's like different ways to do shofar in shul on Rosh Hashanah, right? Some places you daven Shmona Esrei, and as you daven Shmona Esrei, you're in the silent Shmona Esrei, you just wait. When you finish Malchias, you wait. When you finish Zechonos, you wait. When you finish Shofaros, and then the Baal Takea, when he finishes that section, he'll just blow shofar. So that's one way to do it, that they blow shofar during the silent Shmona Esrei. The other way to do it is that, no, there's no shofar during the silent Shmona Esrei. Everyone just davens Shmona Esrei regularly, and then you make up those extra 30 blasts after Chazar Hashatz. Two ways to do it. So anyways, so Rav Papa Bar Shmuel was kind of doing it the first way, which is that as he would daven Shmona Esrei, he would signal to his attendant, and his attendant would then blow shofar, when he would finish each of the sections. Now Rava says to him, Lo amru ela b'chever ir. When we say that you blow shofar, as you finish each section, that is only in a minyan. But if you're davening by yourself, you would just daven the Shmona Esrei regularly, and then afterwards you would blow all 9 blasts. Tanan Yachi, we talk in a brayso like this: Kshu shoman ala seder. When he hears the shofar with malchias, with zechronos, with shofaros. V'al seder. I'm sorry. Shoman al seder v'al seder brachas. You hear them in order, right? Kilu tkiya, trua tkiya, and you also hear each set together with the brachos. So malchias, zechronos, v'shofaros. B'med v'amimurim b'chever ir. Now this, however, is only with the minyan. Aval shelo b'chever ir. If you're davening by yourself, shoman al seder v'shelo al seder brachas, you would hear them in order, right? Tkiya, trua tkiya, and 3 sets of them. But if you're davening by yourself, you would not do it while you daven Shmona Esrei. You would do it afterwards. A fellow who did not blow shofar, his friend could blow shofar for him. A fellow who did not daven Shmona Esrei, his friend should not daven Shmona Esrei for him. He should, if he can, he should daven Shmona Esrei for himself. And the mitzvah is more significant to hear the shofar than to daven Shmona Esrei. So meaning, and the Gemara is going to explain in a second, if you had to choose between davening Shmona Esrei or hearing shofar, choose hearing shofar. Let's go weiter. Ketzad, what does this mean? If you have 2 cities, you have the potential to go to one of 2 cities. Now, ba'achas token, ba'achas mevarchin. You know that if you go to, city A, so you're going to hear shofar, whereas if you go to city B, you won't hear shofar, but you'll be able to daven musaf with a minyan. So the answer is, choose to go to the city where they're blowing shofar, rather than to the city where they can have a minyan to daven musaf. Pshita, this is obvious. Adaraisa, adarabanan. Shofar is daraisa. Shmona Esrei is midarabanan. No, even if you go to city A, maybe they already finished blowing shofar, maybe you'll be able to catch shofar, maybe you won't. Whereas if you go to city B, you'll definitely be able to daven with a minyan. Still, better to take the risk and go to city A, where hopefully you'll catch shofar, than to go to city B, where definitely you'll daven Shmona Esrei with a minyan, but you won't hear shofar. Okay, very interesting. Friends, that was Daf Lamed Daled of Masechta Rosh Hashanah. We learned a lot of interesting things today. The first part of the daf, we learned 2 different ways to learn that on Rosh Hashanah we do a tkiya followed by a trua followed by a tekiya. The first way was to learn it out from Yovel. The second way was to learn it out from the Chatzotzris in the desert. That both by Yovel and by the Chatzotzris there would be a tekiya followed by a trua followed by a tekiya, and then we then apply that to Rosh Hashanah as well. We saw the precedent from a Babau to do Tkiya, Shvarim Trua, and Tkiya out of the concern that maybe what we want is sort of longer sobs followed by quicker sobs. So that's why we do that. So we'll do Tkiya, Shvarim Trua, Tkiya, as well as Tkiya, Trua Tkiya, and Tkiya, Shvarim Tkiya. So I guess that's kind of, and those are 10, right? And then we do 10, right? So how do we do it in shul? Yeah, the way that we do it in shul generally is that we'll do like 10 of those, we'll do 30 of those. So that's 30, right? That comes out to 30, right? Because it's 3, no, that's 10. So I think that the way that we do it, I think is that we'll do 30 at the very beginning, right? So like right when you start Tekiya Shofar, you'll do like 30, right? Tekiya Shvarim Trua Tekiya, that's 4. Tekiya Shvarim Trua is another 3. Tekiya Trua Tekiya is another 3, so that's 10. And then, right, we'll do that 3 times right when we start, right? We'll do that 3 times right when we start, so that's 30. And then, like if you do it in the silent Shemona Esrei also, so then you're going to do another 10 times 3, so that's another 30. And then in Chazar Dashatz, you do it another, Malchus, Zechonos, and Shofar, so another 10 times 3, that's another 30, that's already 90. And then in the Kaddish, after Chazar Dashatz, you do another 10, and that's 100. And if you don't do the 30 in the silent Shemona Esrei, then in the Chazar Dashatz at the end, you do another 40, so you'll have basically 30 at the beginning, 30 in Chazar Dashatz, and then that's 60, and then another 40 in the Kaddish afterwards. But anyways, yeah, so this is kind of right, so like instead of just doing a Tekiya, Trua Tekiya for Malchus, Zechonos, and Shofaros, which we said was 9, instead we actually do 10 for each, right? We do 10 for Malchus, 10 for Zechonos, 10 for Shofaros, and then that is 30, and then, right, Silent Shemona Esrei, Chazar Dashatz, and also before, I don't know, we end up doing 100, right? So anyway, that's super interesting. That's where we sort of get all those different, what's it called? The combinations from Rabbi Bo. So that was super interesting. Yeah, and then we saw that if you hear, according to Rabbi Yochanan, you can hear the shofar kind of throughout the day, and that works. And yeah, we saw the concept, right, of doing the Tekiyas even in the silent Shemona Esrei, right? We saw that you do it Ala Seder with the brachas, but yeah, it's interesting that there's different minhagim whether to do it in the silent Shemona Esrei or not. But anyways, that was Daf Lamed Daled of Masechta Rosh Hashanah. Friends, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for Daf Lamed Hey of Masechta Rosh Hashanah, and we will be Messiah Masechta Rosh Hashanah, and then we will begin Masechta Tainus. Friends, have a great day. Cheers.